I'm not going to believe this.
So you can see that ethanol production under George Bush went up, and Clinton did absolutely nothing.
More high gas prices and less alternative energy.
Clinton promised energy independence in '92.
Brazil will not need any imported oil, not because of ethanol or sugarcane, but because of the vast offshore reserves it has begun to tap.
I didn't know that.
When I was a kid, sugarcane was everywhere. Today, it is nowhere. Yet in Brazil, 80% of their industry, of their energy, is coming from sugarcane. This Congress recognizes that in order for us to get to...
You see what I was saying? We got to copy Brazil. That means we have to drill.
Producing enough ethanol from switchgrass to displace 1 million barrels of oil per day would require 25 million acres of land. That's the size of Kentucky or larger.
Remember.
There is a tremendous amount of disinformation that goes out to the public on the factual, indisputable technicalities of oil and gas, and they go on CNN and tell the public something that is factually incorrect. That makes the work of everybody on this panel 10 times harder.
Harder?
We had 5 times the field staff than ever before. We were spending $80 million in field organizing. We also gave $65 million directly to state parties so they could do what they wanted with it. Did you see the Dale Sweetland ad?
No.
You're going around wasting your footage filming this guy here, but you're not edifying the voting public at all. But you're going to sit and film this guy for your boss. That's what you're going to do, is film this guy for the Democrats, and you're learning absolutely nothing. Nothing. And this is what the Democrats do with their time.
Dale Sweetland has it backwards. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is responsible for the
Sweetland's got it backwards.
Okay, right here.
It's not funny.
Democrat ad, the tax Sweetland. Okay, remember we just saw what a party with Terry McAuliffe giving the state $65 million to do as they want? Well, that's what they do with this money. Instead of educating you and me, okay, this is what they're doing. They're making me stupider.
I'm Dan Maffei, and I approve this message.
Why would the Democrats want to do that? Oh my God. That's them. The 2 spies that I met.
Okay, so how many gallons of alternatives are going to be produced like in 15, 20 years from now? Do you know? Do you know? You don't know.
Do you?
Yes, I do know. Excellent, excellent.
And now you know. 36 billion gallons.
Last year's energy bill required that 36 billion gallons of biofuels be produced annually by 2022. Of that, 21 billion gallons would be advanced biofuels that are still mostly in the experimental stage. Okay? There it is right there. Rethinking ethanol. Okay? You know, how can Dan Maffei not know this?
I get it now. I get it.
I'm Gasoline Joe. Last year, farmers grew about 11 billion bushels of corn. If you converted all this corn into ethanol, you'd have about 18 billion gallons of gasoline equivalent. That's your ethanol update. Thank you. This is Gasoline Joe. Bye-bye.
I like that guy. I like Gasoline Joe. No.
And remember, cellulosic ethanol is still in its experimental stage. So, bye-bye.
Ethanol. They're having trouble finding things for their animals to eat. And as you know, one of the articles in one of the newspapers in the last week or two was some of the pig farmers are feeding cookies and popcorn and stuff they can buy that's cheaper than corn because there's such a shortage of grains.
How many gallons of alternatives are going to be produced in 15, 20 years from now? Do you know? You don't know.
Do you? Do you? Do you?
I get it now. I get it.
I get it now. I get it now. You're going to get it. The United States uses about 5 million barrels of crude oil a day. We get from Texas, Alaska, then California, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Okay, the top producing states are Texas at 1 million, Alaska at 740,000, California at 600,000, Louisiana and Oklahoma around 200,000. Okay, and then of course offshore is about 1.5 million, and that equals about 5 million barrels a day. Okay, the top exporters are Saudi Arabia, Russia, Norway, Iran. You can see the numbers there. Now remember, Saudi Arabia exports about 10 million barrels a day. We only import about 1.5 million. So the whole world buys oil from Saudi Arabia. The United States is a small player with them. U.S. crude imports, as you can see here, is Canada with almost 2 million. Then Mexico, about 1.5 million, and then Saudi Arabia, 1.5 million. And then you can see the numbers. And as we go down, you can see that while I was at Hillary Clinton's fundraiser, I told the lady that, we get more oil from Louisiana than we get from Kuwait. That's not true. That's not true. But Democrats are ignorant when it comes to oil policy. Oh, look, we even import oil from China. Nothing wrong with that. But I think we should start drilling in our own country. But my Democratic friends say to me, to my face, who the hell do you think you are? And I say, well, look at China's oil production and oil consumption. Everyone has their issues. So I think it's time, when you look at this report, U.S. oil production is going to continue to go down to 4.6. Okay? And then oil production in Alaska has gone from 2 million barrels down to 500,000 barrels. Okay, by 2025. That's significant loss. Don't you think we should at least stay even? Plus, we could create more domestic jobs. And out of every barrel that we use, 20 gallons of gasoline comes from it. And each barrel of oil is about 42 gallons. Okay, and then, of course, there's record output for refineries this year. About 6 to 7 billion barrels. So now what do you think?
So I think I'll first talk about oil, very briefly. Now, Stephen Colbert once said that he doesn't like facts because facts have a well-known liberal bias. I like facts a lot. Every day, Americans use 21 million barrels of oil. We produce more than 8 million barrels of oil every day. We produce more than 8 million barrels of oil every day. And I am serving as an expert witness. Even if we drilled in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, even if we opened up all of the Atlantic and Pacific coast to oil drilling, we would still be importing more than half of our oil.
A meager 200,000 barrels a day. And that 200,000 barrels assume that drilling off the coasts of the Atlantic and Pacific is something that people will want to do. This particular chart shows you how much additional supply we will need. 2 million more barrels than what we are currently using.